Sup lads, it's Bonks, bringing you another video game League of Legends review. This is going to be my first top lane review actually, so yeah, that's pretty cool. And today we're going to be looking at a Jace versus Camille VOD. Nuguri Jace actually, who is last year's world champion, I think. I think he is, yeah. For some reason I'm doubting myself, I'm pretty sure he's the world champ. But yeah. We're going to be looking at the range versus melee matchup. We're going to be talking about the general concepts for when you're playing range versus melee, how you manipulate the wave, how you can manipulate the wave, how you trade around cooldowns and stuff, what you do, like how you look at the jungler's pathing and all that. We're just going to be talking about general concepts in range versus melee matchups. So even though this is a Jace VOD playing against Camille, that doesn't really matter. All that matters is just like general concepts around the range matchups and stuff. So you don't need to play Jace to understand this video is what I'm trying to say. This video can be worth watching if you play any range top really. And probably a lot of melee tops as well, because it's just general concepts, right? It's just like being ranged allows you to do certain things that you can't do as a melee champ against the range champ, but ultimately League is League, right? So it doesn't make too much of a difference. So the thing about being ranged or in a range versus melee matchup is from level 1, you know, this changes throughout the game, but from level 1, right at the beginning of the game, you have complete control over the wave to do whatever you want. Because, I mean, if you just think about it in this matchup, if Camille walks up to the Jace to try and contest him, Jace will just poke Camille. And Camille can't get on top of him, right? Until, like, at least level 3, when she wants to, like, go all in with her full combo. So until Camille gets her spike with her E, her Q, and her W, she can't really do much to the Jace. The Jace is just always going to poke her down, win all the trades, you know, all that stuff. So Jace has complete control of the wave, is what I'm trying to get at here. And that's how it is for most range versus melee champions. So, what does that mean? That means Jace, at the beginning of the game, he can slow push. He can push as slowly as he wants to. Like, he doesn't need to push fast. He can let the wave come into him if Camille pushes, but this is a high elo game, so Camille's probably not going to do that. But realistically, he can do whatever he wants, right? And so what the best thing for him to do is, at the beginning of the game to the wave, is start a slow push, right? And what he wants to do is he wants to stack the first 3 waves, right? The first 2 normal waves plus the cannon wave, he wants to stack them up with a slow push. And then at around, you know, I think it's like 3 minutes, 3:05 maybe, he'll take these 3 waves and he'll crash them into the enemy tower. What this will do is, it gives him pretty much infinite options. And this is the advantage of pushing, right? It allows him to... If his jungler fights for Crab over here, let's say both junglers start bot side and they fight for Crab, he can move to it. If he wants to recall, like cheetah recall, and buy like a longsword or boots or whatever, he can do that. If he wants to poke Camille under tower while she's farming, he can do that. If he wants to go ward, he can do that. It just gives him like an infinite amount of options, right? And the other thing pushing allows him to do is it allows him to hit level 2 and level 3 first. And if he hits level 2 and level 3 first, that means he's going to permanently be zoning Camille away. And by the time Camille gets her level 2-3 power spike, she should be so low on HP that she can't actually do anything to the Jace. So Jace should have complete control in this lane because of his range advantage for the first, like 3-ish waves. So we'll see him do the slow push here, talk about like trading and stuff, what happens, where the junglers start, whatnot. So yeah, as you can see, he's hitting this minion right here because he's starting the slow push. And you see now he stops hitting the minion, right? He doesn't hit the minion anymore because he doesn't want to push too fast. If he pushes too fast, then he'll end up stacking the first 2 waves when he wants to stack the first 3 waves. Stacking the first 3 waves is better than stacking the first 2 waves because it gives you a longer timer. If you stack 2 waves on recall, first off you'll have less money because you only killed 2 waves. You'll have less time to get back to lane, so you're going to miss some minions. You'll have less time to poke if you want to do that. You'll have less time to like do everything. And then the 3rd wave will push back into you, and Camille will get level 3 first. And that'll be really, really bad for Jace. So crashing the 2nd wave is bad. So Jace really needs to make sure that in this lane he doesn't push too fast. But he also doesn't want to push like... Well, he also wants to make sure he's pushing, right? So he's not like getting pushed in. Because if he's getting pushed in, Camille will hit level 2, level 3 first, and it'll just be sad for him, right? So that's why he's like slow pushing. He's not autoing too much. And he's also, the reason he's only autoing this one is because he wants to layer them. So what that means is this minion will get low, he'll last hit it, then this one will, then this one will. So he can last hit them in order rather than having to miss one of them. So that's what's happening here. Immediately we see that Camille is missing. We don't know where she is. That means she's probably leashing. So Lee Sin started top side. What that means is he's going to cross over to bot side, most likely. and Viego's going to cross over to top side, most likely, which means they're going to go for different crabs. Now, the other thing, sometimes, if you're playing against like a Lee Sin or a Jarvan, you might need to think about the level 2 gank, right? So, for example, if Jace was on blue side this game, and Lee Sin was starting red, he would probably be much more scared of a level 2 gank, and he would probably ward in this bush at level 1, or 1 minute 20. Because red buff Lee Sin's much scarier than blue buff, or same with Jarvan or whatever. Or, if his bot lane, or if the enemy bot lane wasn't like this, right? If you look at the bot lanes this game, Caitlyn, Thresh, Aphelios, Blitzcrank, right? That is really good setup for Lee Sin with the Blitzcrank. And with Caitlyn and like Thresh and like these champs, they're going to be fighting a lot, right? So Lee Sin really wants to get to bot side as fast as possible to gank the bot lane. So Nuguri knows that, and he knows that Lee Sin is never going to go for a level 2 gank here without red buff and when he wants to path to bot lane. So he doesn't ward level 1. But in some matchups, say if bot lane is a more passive lane and Lee Sin starts red and you're blue side, you're the blue side Jace, then you're going to have to ward level 1 and be more scared of the Lee Sin level 2 gank, or Jarvan, or Xin Zhao, whatever champ it is. But not a lot of champs can gank level 2, so it's just something to think about. That also means when he crashes the wave at 305, he doesn't need to be scared of ganks, because Lee Sin's going to be over here. So that's a lot of information we already have right at the beginning of the game to work with. It basically means he can push without having to worry. And now Camille actually gets back to lane. You can see that she's missing a bit of mana as well. Sometimes you might need to look at this. It means she used mana on the buff to like help Lee Sin. We can also see on the map because it's like spectator HUD, but yeah. Alright, and so right here, this trade, pretty nice. The reason he goes for this trade is he knows Camille is going to W these minions here, so he knows he's going to have an opportunity to trade with her. And he actually ends up going roughly even in this trade. It's quite a close trade, but if you look at their sustain, 3 normal pots versus 1 pot, and obviously Doran Shield, but Jace generally has more sustain here. And also, Jace is the one pushing into Camille. So as we were talking about earlier, when Jace crashes the 3rd wave, what that means is if these trades go really badly, and say Jace ends up on this HP and Camille is on like this HP, Jace can just recall because he has the power to stack the first 3 waves, which we'll see later. So he doesn't mind trading and taking some losing trades here to potentially put Camille into the kill threat, because he knows he can base and recall at any time later. So he doesn't mind like forcing a lot of trades in this matchup. And he also knows he's not like in danger of being ganked. So he really, really doesn't mind trading this game and taking like even or even losing trades. As you can see here, he's just last hitting, building up the slow push. He's waiting for Camille to walk up for last hits, and then he's probably going to look for like trading opportunities. And another thing to note here, when he hits level 2, if you're playing in low elo against bad players, when you're hitting level 2 like this, you should walk up. The reason he doesn't is because Camille right now has no reason to walk up. Camille's not gonna, she hasn't got any last hits to take, so Camille's just gonna run away. So there's no point in him walking up right now. He might as well just take control of the bush instead. But if you're in low elo and you're coming up on your level 2 power spike, which happens on the 7th minion, or the first melee minion of the 2nd wave, then you should start walking up. Because it's very likely that the Camille, if she was like gold, plat, diamond, she's probably going to walk up too far and take a massive, accidentally take a bad trade. So when you're coming up on your level spikes like this, you should try and walk up to start trade, because they'll probably step too far forward and take the trade. But yeah, this is a challenger game. Camille isn't stupid. So now that she has a last hit to take, you can see this last hit was low, this one's getting low. Jace is posturing quite aggressively to try and poke the Camille if she takes the last hit. And yep, you can see here, she has to take this last hit, and Jace is literally standing on top of it, because he's level 2 and he knows he'll win the trade. Messes up the Q, but still, quite a nice trade for him. As I said earlier, it doesn't matter if he loses trades, because as you can see, he's building up this slow push. He's going to stack this wave with this one, crash it into tower. If trades go bad, he can just recall. So it's fine. Plus, he's hitting his level spikes first, so Camille is never going to get a chance to all-in him. He'll hit level 3 first, so Camille just cannot all-in him ever in this lane. And yep, as you can see, stack the first wave with this one. Now he's going to crash it into tower and look to maybe recall or poke her, or, you know, he'll have some options. We'll look at them when we get there. Oh, I didn't watch that. What happened there? Okay, so he actually takes a pretty bad trade here. So yeah, as you can see, what happened here was Alright, he knew Camille was gonna go for this last hit, right? Oh, fuck. Ah, sorry. I meant to have the pen selected. Try and pause it at the right moment. He knew Camille was going to go for these last hits, 1 or 2 of them. And he saw this minion was dying, so he thought he could Q. And obviously he did that, but unfortunately he steps slightly too far forwards and he ended up taking an E to the face. And he wasn't able to trade back, sadly. And now, as you can see, he hits level 3 first. He's still level 2. Now Camille is scared, has to run away. And Jace can crash this into tower. And Camille can't do anything about it because she's level 2. So now Jace has complete control of the lane. And even though he just took that bad trade and he's quite low on health, it doesn't matter because he can just reset if he wants to. So let's see what's happening here. He's going to keep pushing. And now in a game like this, if we saw Lee Sin started topside this game, right? If Lee Sin actually started bot side this game, then Jace would be in a very, very dangerous position right now, right? Because Lee Sin will be just about finishing his... He'll probably have cleared 3 camps. He'll be level 3. So now he'll be able to walk up and gank top. Usually, a lot of junglers who can clear quickly and, play the early game, usually get their first gank window at 3 minutes. Or, 3 minutes to 3:05. So around this time, if you're pushing into the enemy like Jace is here, you're in danger, right? So either one, you need to find a ward timer. So he could have warded at maybe like... I mean, there are lots of chances to ward, right? He could have warded like... Let's go back and see if we can find a ward timer. He could have warded here, right? As soon as this wave got here, he now has no last hits to take, so he can just go and ward, right? And there are many other opportunities like this in the lane where if you don't have any last hits to take, like you're not missing anything, you can just go and quickly drop a ward. And if you crash a wave into tower, you can get a more deep ward. So if Lee Sin started bot side this game, we probably would have seen Nuguri go for a ward, look for a ward timer. But he didn't, right? So that didn't happen, but I'm just saying, just in case it happens in your games. Or the other option is instead of stacking the first 3 waves, like Jace did, what you can do is you can stack the first 2 waves. Crash the first 2 waves into tower, go and drop a ward after the first 2 waves, and then continue pushing the 3rd wave. Or stack the first 2 waves and let the 3rd wave bounce back into you. This is good if you want to... You can let the 3rd wave bounce back into you if you don't need to help your jungler. So if Lee Sin started bot, Viego started bot, this would be bad. But if Lee Sin started bot, Viego started top, right, then he would need to crash the 2nd wave and let the 3rd wave push back into him. And then he would be able to farm the wave here completely safely because the wave will be coming back into him, right? So it'll be on his side. So then he can farm this wave, the 3rd wave, safely without having to worry about the Lee Sin gank. However, it would be bad because having your wave in this position, if Viego and Lee Sin start bot, that means they're going to fight for the crab, right? So you don't want your wave to be here. You want your wave to be here so you can get prio. So those are all like the different situations you need to think about in this game. But in this case, he is not scared of Lee Sin. Lee Sin's on the other side of the map, so none of that matters. But yeah, just in case it happens to you, just covering all the situations and stuff. And now he crashed this into tower. And as I said earlier, he has a couple options. He can either poke her, ward, reset, or if like there was an invade or like a fight happening, he could move to that, but there's not in this game, so either poke the enemy or go and base really are his options here. We'll probably see him go to base. Okay, it seems like he's made a decision here to not base on this wave, but instead push this wave, which is the 4th wave, crash the 4th wave, this one here, into Camille's tower, and then base. There are multiple reasons you can do this. One reason is because you might need the money. 100 gold from the minion wave might get you the item you want. I don't really know what Jace like builds. Like, I don't really play this champ, so I don't know. Maybe he needs the money. Maybe he is scared that he will miss minions if he bases now, which he probably will, right? If he bases now, what will happen is Camille will slow push this wave into him, and then as it's slow pushing, he's going to miss like some of these minions here because they're going to die to the red minions. The blue minions here will die to the red minions as Camille is slow pushing back into him, so he's going to miss a couple last hits. But he will save TP if he does that, so that's a plus side. But then, yeah, he probably just doesn't want to miss the minions. So he's going to push this into tower, probably base, and then TP back to lane. Now, another thing you can do, if Camille is in a situation here, or, okay, let's say you're playing against a Garen, right? And Garen is actually running Flash Ignite, or any champion that isn't running TP in top lane, because I know this happens in low elo, I know a lot of people do it. What you can do right now, when you're in this exact situation, you crash the wave into tower, you know that this wave here is going to push back into you if you don't do anything, right? So what you can do, you can poke Camille as much as possible, maybe to this low, or sorry, Garen, we're saying it's Garen, right? You can poke the Garen, who has a Flash Ignite to this low HP, base, and then TP back to lane on this wave, as this wave is pushing back into you. And then the Garen is forced to stay in a lane without TP while it's pushing back into you as he's low on HP because you poked him. So then he's either forced to base and lose a bunch of minions, or try and crash it but probably die for it. So if you're playing against in this situation, you're playing against a champion without TP, say Camille was running Flash Ignite, it would be really good right now to base and then TP back and then fuck the Camille over, because she can't push the wave for a reset. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, like, ask in the comments. Hopefully these explanations are making sense. And yeah, you can see he's trying to poke Camille while trying to push the wave at the same time. And yeah, here's the same effect as before, right? Camille can go in for this trade, right? That's fine. Jace doesn't care. Jace could end up this low. He would not care, right? Because he can just base whenever he wants to. Right after pushing the next wave, he can base. Whereas Camille, she's forced to stay in lane for a bit longer. So she might end up in a really bad position. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, Jace, my point is Jace doesn't give a fuck about this trade. He can just stay in lane, or base, sorry, while Camille is forced to stay. So her trading might be worse for her. And so, yep, he's probably just going to push this and reset here. And yeah, there you go. Pushes that. Alright, so he's also low on mana here. That's probably one of the other reasons why he wants to reset. Staying for the extra wave didn't, like, matter. Although now he has to use his TP to not miss any minions. And he gets to base with a little bit more gold. And you see how he also has quite a big CS advantage. Camille has 12, he has 22. That's because when the Camille was walking out for last hits, he was poking her. And that's also because he slow pushed the first 3 waves. And so a bunch of minions, Jace's minions, like the red minions, were dying. And Camille was like too scared to walk up because she knew she would take a big trade. I can show you some examples of that actually. See if we can find one. Okay, it'll probably be further back here. Actually, turns out most of the last hits she missed were under tower here. So here she has like 7 minions to farm, but she ends up missing a bunch of them because she's, as you can see, if she walks up, Jace is standing right here waiting to poke her. So that's the other advantage of like doing the slow push. You can deny a bunch of minions while you stay and poke them under tower. So look how Camille is like struggling to like walk up and last hit the minions here. And she might even miss cannon, honestly. No, she gets cannon. But she missed, I think, like one of the melees. Yeah, she missed a couple of the melees. And she's probably going to miss all of these as well because their HPs are really awkward. So you can see the advantages. Another one of the advantages of pushing in. You can deny a bunch of minions against these melee champs that are too scared to walk up. Like, that's another one miss. She's now missed, like, I think 9 minions up to this point. That's another one there. You can see how she's like, she can't walk up to get these last hits, right? Because Jace has the push and he has the range advantage. And you can't do this if you're constantly shoving waves into the enemy. You need to slow push. You need to do it like he is. Building the first 3 waves, crashing them all at once, and then denying them all at once. Anyway, yeah, he resets. Oh, wait, does he get cancelled? Unfortunately, he's forced to cancel here because Camille isn't dumb. So that delays him a little bit, and now he really has to TP. So we'll see what he does here. He buys a tier. TP's on the minion. That's important instead of the tower. And so now Camille is in a situation where Jace has... He has a tier here, but he could, like, if it was a different champion, like Riven maybe, he might have bought a longsword instead. He has a refillable. And now Camille is forced to crash this wave into tower because she needs to reset. While she's doing that, Jace has an item advantage, right? So it's hard for her. And Jace also has a HP and mana advantage. So it's really, really tough for Camille right now because she has to crash this wave, but she's, like, behind on the Jace. Because he got the first recall off because he built the slow push into her. So Camille will probably be forced to just back off and TP here. Like TP back to lane, even though she missed a couple. And you can see like Jace is like really trying to punish these last hits. Like the moment Camille like... And you can also see, actually, one thing that's interesting is the way Camille is like dancing back and forth here. Like you can see how she's going like back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. Like just watch it. She's moving like back and forth to try and bait the Jace to move in. Like back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward. Because she knows they're both interacting, right? This is their way of interacting. They both know that Camille wants this last hit. So she's going like back forward, back forward, back forward to try and bait the Jace to go in on these minions, like Q slam it. And then she's going to walk away, dodge the slam, and then farm this minion for free. That's what she wants to do. So she's trying to like bait Jace into trading on this minion by walking like back and forth and acting like she's going to last hit it. And Jace is also trying to read her and be like, okay, when is she gonna hit it? When is she gonna move away? You know? So you can see here she's like back and forward, and eventually Jace slams into the minions like this. And as you saw, it hit Camille. Boom. Right? As Camille moved back in here, right, you can see she's moving back and forth. And then I meant to pause there, which is annoying. But you can see she's currently running away because she's going back and forth. And then, as soon as he slams, boom, she moves back in, right? 'Cause she was trying to bait it. But Jace was one step ahead. Nuguri was one step ahead here. And he knew Camille would walk back in. And then he slammed. And then he managed to land the AoE on her. So that's sort of the interaction that was going on there between that minion. Like, trying to bait out each other and stuff. This is only something you see in high elo games. In low elo games, if this Camille was like gold, she would have just walked up and hit the minion. And you would be able to trade for free without having to think too much. But yeah, this is just like one of the high elo things, I guess, that makes him so good at the game. And yeah, so Jace lands the AoE because he read the Camille. And Camille wins the trade anyway because season 11 champs. No, I'm joking. She doesn't win. What the fuck? Don't know why I said that. She's not even season 11 champ, but you know, she's fucking OP, so it's whatever. So yeah, Jace takes a trade. Boom, boom, boom. Camille is now fucked. So now Camille's going to TP back. And as you can see, while she's doing this, she's missing this minion, probably this minion. So Jace is building an advantage here. Look, that's one minion missed, 2, 3. And now Jace gets to push on this wave. And he gets to push her into Camille's tower and then take a free reset. Unless Camille can somehow stop it. We'll see what happens. Because Camille does have TP, so that could happen here. But now you can see how Jace is in like a dominant position, right? He's pushing the wave into Camille. He's up 12 CS. He's up in XP as well. And in general, the wave is just in a better spot for him. Because he can like push and get a reset off. Spend some money while Camille will be stuck in lane with no items. Or, you know, whatever she buys on the first base. And so yeah, Jace is just trying to push this out here. And misses the cannon. Sad. Oh, wait, what the fuck? Ah, okay, this is a spectator bug. There's like, you can see she actually TPs on this minion here. But like the minion freezes, but you can't see it because it's like the minion's frozen. So she's TPing here on the minion. Jace does this. Right, so now Jace wants to crash the wave into tower because he wants to take a reset. And you can see Camille's items, right? All she has is a ruby crystal. So if Jace is now able to force this crash and base, he can probably buy maybe a longsword, maybe a dirk. I don't know what his money looks like. But either way, he's going to have a massive item lead on Camille. Because it started right at the beginning, right? When he slow pushed the first wave into her, he denied a bunch of minions, and then he got the first reset off. And when he crashed the fourth wave. And then after getting the first reset off, he TP'd back. He denied more minions because he forced Camille to base while he was pushing into Camille. And then, now he's crashing this and basing on like 30 CS. Whereas Camille is stuck in lane with 16 CS having just used her TP. And that's all because he has the range advantage. He slow pushed the first wave, set up a good base timer at the beginning, took the first base, you know, all that stuff we talked about. So you can see how the slow push at the beginning and the wave management allows him to be in a really, really nice lane position. Or lane state, I guess. But now Camille is forced to let it... Yep. Camille is forced to let it crash because if you look at the size of the wave, there's no way Camille can freeze this. If she tries to freeze this many minions, she'll probably lose like half her HP. And then Jace might be able to even kill her. Or something, I don't know, maybe. Chunk her really low. Force her to base again. Make her miss more minions, you know. So she can't hold this wave because it's too big. That's another one of the important things I didn't mention here. When Jace TP'd back to lane, he needed to make sure... Well, he was doing this in general, right, because he was trying to trade on this minion. But he needed to make sure that Camille didn't hurt his wave too much. Because he wants it to be big for when this happens. Because now Camille can't freeze. If he let his wave get too small, then Camille would be able to freeze. Say it was only these minions. Camille would be able to freeze, Jace would be screwed. So he had to make sure that he slow pushed this wave as well, rather than fast pushing it. So a mistake I see a lot of like low elo players do is when they TP back to lane like this, with this wave, they would immediately just go and just like nuke it, right? And try and like push it into the enemy tower for no reason, right? You can't do that. You need to slow push again because you know that Camille's going to base and TP. You know that your objective is to crash this wave. The important thing to realize is when you TP back to lane, you realize, I now need to crash this. That is my goal. And to crash it, I need it to be as big as possible. If I look at the minimap, I know I can't crash this because the next minion's really close by, or next minion wave, sorry, is really close by. So I need to stack this one with this one and then crash them both. So that's what he ends up doing. And then he slow pushes it. And now he has a really big wave and Camille can't do anything about it. So yeah, I forgot to mention that. My bad. Or I kind of did, I think, but it wasn't really that clear. So... okay. Looks like he's going for some cheese here. I think that was his goal. Ah, I see. Actually, Camille was able to freeze this because the next wave was really close by. Or it wasn't really frozen, per se. But it's like, you know, this is probably actually going to push back into Jace. Because the wave wasn't quite close enough. So these 3 minions will group up. The next wave will come along. This one will come along. Group up with this one and then push back into Jace. However, in doing that, Jace will probably end up missing like these 3 minions, which is really, really bad for him. Or he just doesn't want, I guess. So he tried to like sneak into the bush and break the freeze. As you can see here. So then Camille goes in here. Boom, boom, EQ. And now Jace knows, even though he's low on HP, he's walking into Camille and he's not scared. Why is that? Why is that? Well, it's because Camille just used all her abilities. So Jace knows Camille now has nothing. He has everything, as you can see here. All his spells are up. So he's now not scared of Camille, even though he's low on HP. That is another very, very common low elo mistake. The moment they get low HP, they run away. But the enemy just used everything. Why are you running away? It's a burst champion, right? So this is what he realizes. He's like, right, now she has no abilities. I have a window to break this freeze. Or it's not really a freeze, but crash this wave to get set myself up a better recall. So, yep, he's hitting the minions, trying to set that up. And he's also hitting Camille because he's like, he knows that Camille is really, really desperately trying to all in him here. So he's trying to hit Camille to like, you know, make sure that doesn't happen. Boom, boom. And now he's trying to crash the wave. He's not using his abilities on the wave because, as I said, Camille wants to all in, so he has to save them. Boom, boom, crashes the wave. And he's out of there. He's not out of there, actually. But here you can see he crashes this wave. In my opinion, he got a bit greedy for this minion here. It's off the screen right now, but there's a minion here. He probably now should have just backed off, let the wave crash, recalled. But instead, he's running in, trying to fight the Camille. I think it's a bit of a coin flip play if you don't know your champion's limits. He probably does, and he probably wins this fight because it's a replay uploaded to YouTube. But I don't know, actually, we'll see. But if you don't know your champion's limits in a situation like this, you shouldn't greed for the last minion. You should just run away and let this wave crash, because it's going to crash, right? The next wave is all the way back here. There's no way Camille can freeze this because she's low on HP and it's massive. So if you aren't like a Jace god or like whatever champ you're playing god, don't do this. I'm assuming he wins because it's a YouTube replay. Oh, but Camille has Ignite. Oh, and he flashes it. Okay. Trades flash for Ignite there. Not the end of the world. And he's basing. Cool. Camille's looking for him here. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Wait, let's watch that again. What the fuck? Wait, he's so behind on HP here. He actually wins that. What the fuck? This is why he's a world champion, guys, because he does this shit. This is what it takes to be a world champion, making plays like this. Knowing your limits. Smashes into her. Boom, gets lost. Oh, my God, man. That's crazy. And now he resets because, as you can see, or as I said before, the blue wave is pushing back into Jace. He doesn't need to crash this. A lot of low elo players, again, another common mistake is they would try to push this out. You don't need to do that because this is pushing back into you anyway, right? Because you just crashed the last wave, this one. You just crashed this one, so the next one you know will push back into you. So now, because you know the next one's pushing back into you here, and you kill her, you don't need to crash it now because it's going to push back into you and it's going to be over here. You're not going to miss anything. It won't crash into your tower. So you're not going to miss anything, so you can just back. And that's why he bases here. So he bases, buys Dirk. And yeah, at this point, the lane's over. There's really nothing more to say. He has his Dirk. Camille has literally got a Ruby Crystal. It's just going to be domination from here. So I hope you can take away something from this. Probably going to end it here. There's no point looking at the rest of it. The most important thing was what he did to the wave. That's mostly what I talked about anyway. How he like poked Camille on the minions. He made sure he did that at every single chance he got. If you're playing in low elo, gold, plat, you're going to get so many chances where they walk up for CS that they shouldn't walk up for, and you can poke them really easily. So really make use of windows like that when you're playing these bully matchups as like a range champ, and you have like complete control. Manipulate the wave like Jace did. Remember the stuff I was talking about with the junglers, and make sure you poke them when they go for minions, and that's about it. Thanks for watching, boys. In a bit.